Now, folks, on Wednesday, the Supreme Court is set to give its decision, finally, it feels like it's been ages, on whether the government's Rwanda plan is lawful. Now, if the court rules in the government's favour, it's likely we could see asylum seekers being sent to the African country by March of next year. But the big question is, what happens if the court rules the policy unlawful? Well, joining me now is international human rights lawyer David Haigh. David, thank you very much for your time today. I mean, honestly, this particular issue, David, has the emails flooded with people really frustrated and just wanting to see some action on this. I assume if the Supreme Court say, I'm sorry, Mr Sunak, but no can do, that actually we're not going to be seeing any action on illegal migration anytime soon.
Well, good afternoon, Darren. I mean, I hate to disappoint the people that have been emailing you. I don't think whatever happens next week, it's a big week, but whatever happens, I do not think we are going to see deportations to Rwanda anytime soon under this current government and under the current laws that we have. If the government wins and effectively the Supreme Court overturns the Court of Appeal, when the Court of Appeal back in the summer found that the sending people to Rwanda was not permitted under existing law. And if that's overturned at the Supreme Court and technically you're allowed to then start sending people to Rwanda, you will have all sorts of other legal challenges to that, both domestically and it will go to the European courts. So that will effectively stop that. And then if the government win, then again, you're also going to have issues because people will also appeal that. So whatever happens, if the government win and they can move them, you're going to have challenges. If the government lose, then there's an even bigger problem because what's next?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, politically, though, this could be make and break for the Conservative Party.
Exactly. And if you look at it from a political perspective, now, if the government loses, now, we know in the Conservative Party there's been, and I don't think we should come out of the European Court of Human Rights, but of course that's been made a big issue. Now, and I do think that the next week the decision is on a knife edge. Now, if the government loses and the court says, and it will basically be our Supreme Court, so a domestic court saying, we, Britain, cannot extradite people to Rwanda because it's not a safe country and would be a breach of Article 3 of the European Convention of Human Rights. So that will then bring in the back into the centre stage in politics that we need to leave the European Court or not.
David, just very briefly, if you would, a lot of my viewers will be saying, well, David's just said there that he doesn't want us to leave the European Court. If the European Court, for example, were to say that we couldn't have the Rwanda migrant scheme, then a lot of people are very frustrated that a European court can overrule what British parliamentarians are voting for in law.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that. I mean, I think there's a lot of bad things the European Court does, but there's also a lot of good things as well. There's a lot of freedoms that we all enjoy at the moment that we wouldn't have had if it wasn't for the European Court. So there are good things and bad things with it. I think there are other things that we can do to address asylum rather than running out of the European courts. And in any event, that wouldn't happen in this government at this time. We don't have it long enough.
All right, David Haigh, international human rights lawyer, thank you very much for your time today.